features. I already explained the previous features. So for unique features, I created the feature of search text. So for this search text, I created a function called search text. So this function actually is going to make the user to search through the text. So over here, I created a condition using if statement, featre.length. You all know that featre is used when you want to look through an array to return something based on a condition. So I said featre.length. Length is at the length of the array. How many things are inside the array is equal to 0. So when there is nothing inside the array of the task, like I have no task in the array which is equal to 0, the console.log will return no task found. That means I have included no task. So the help statement is featre.for each. So you're going to return something for me based on a condition, which is the condition is my console.log will now be if the task is done. Now the other else statement is when something is found inside the array, it's going to return it on the condition of if the task has been done. It's going to return it for me based on the category, which is this category here. It's going to return it for me task, also deadline, and the task category and task deadline. After the I will return the show menu will return. Then I also created the second function, which is the second feature, which is to sort tasks. I'm going to sort tasks by deadline, by category, by status, and by priority. So I created this sort tasks. So for this sort tasks, I used switch statements. I didn't use if else here because I have a lot of conditions I want to look through. So I created the case 1. The case 1 is going to sort by the earliest deadline, which is by deadline. So if I created to do with sorts, we're going to return the task for me by the deadline. The second case statement will return it by category. So if I create a task now of gym or read or to code, and I type it there by category of coding, it's going to return the task. And once the task is done, I can also search for tasks by checking on my done task. And for the case 4, which is by priority order, I created 3 priority order, which is high, medium, or low. So it depends on the priority. If I search for the tasks based on the high priority, it's going to show me the tasks on my high priority. It's going to show me the tasks on my medium, on my low. So and I return, and if there is nothing, if the user should choose none of this my statement here, it's going to say invalid. And I always view the task after sorting. It's going to show the task. But if the user did not choose any of these tasks, it's going to come out as invalid task. Then I also create another one for overdue tasks. So like when the task is being overdue, how can the user know it's going to come out? So I use .featre. You also know featre is going to be based on the condition anyway. So if the task is is overdue, so I use this function here to talk t.deadline, which I already created at the top. That's task.deadline. And task not done, that means it's overdue. That means if task has gotten to the deadline, that is t.deadline, and task is not done, that means the task has gone to the deadline is not done. It's going to run through this conditional statement here. So if task.length is greater than 0, console.log, that means you're having your task has been overdue. And overdue was for each. Also is going to run through the task to check text and and also the deadline of the task. Then I created this function also to look through the deadline to be sure that there's a deadline, if there's a deadline or there's no deadline. This function here is to check if there's a deadline. That's why I use not deadline or deadline is got no deadline, return false. That means there's no deadline. That means they're going to return new date of deadline and also what's about the deadline. So this is for my new features I just added to this. And over here I added this new one to search by tax and sort tax. So I'm going to be searching tax. I already explained that at the top, and sort tax. And if the user enter either none of this, I'm going to return invalid option. That means the person has choose an option that is not valid, and I will to show main again.